After a massive 12-hour bear market yesterday, Bitcoin is back in a bull market after receiving another new all-time high. With Bitcoin bulls worldwide running critically low on tissues and lotion, is $100,000 per Bitcoin and beyond closer than most think? Well, one thing is for sure, nobody was bullish enough. So if you're new here, hit the like, subscribe, get signed up to Femex below if you want to buy Bitcoin, altcoins, trade, and receive up to a $30,000 limited time deposit bonus. And without any further ado, let's absolutely and entirely completely dump on in. With the price of Bitcoin setting yet another new all-time high today, you can see the massive bear market we had to endure yesterday in this red candle, but fret not, the bull market is back, and the price of Bitcoin hitting $100,000 has never been more obvious. The juice has quite literally been let loose. So let's start off with some news. BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF hits $40 billion in assets today in just the first 211 days, the most successful ETF launch in history. IBIT has hit the $40 billion, let me repeat that, the $40 billion asset mark just 2 weeks after hitting $30 billion in less than 212 days, completely demolishing, annihilating any previous record, which was about 1,200 days, and that was held by IEMG. It's now in the top 1% of all ETFs by assets at only 10 months old, and it's bigger than roughly 3,000 ETFs launched in the past 10 years. Look at this chart. This was the previous fastest growing ETF in history. Look at Bitcoin. This is one metric that is mega bullish for Bitcoin, and amongst like dozens at this point. But it's quite literally, you know, I've been bullish on Bitcoin for like the past 8 years, and I still like have a hard time wrapping my head around like just how big, just how absolutely massive this is. Now, one thing I've been thinking about, and I think this is a really good tweet, is that Mike Alfred talked about the movie The Big Short. If you guys are aware of it, it's a really good movie. I mentioned it like a couple days ago as well. Michael Burry, though, who shorted the market, made almost $1 billion doing it. But in the movie, and it also is based on real life, so this happened in real life. But in the movie, Michael Burry and other traders could see that the bonds were failing, but CDOs, which they should have been getting paid out basically, they stayed at the same price for weeks because they were being manipulated by the banks. And I fully agree with this comparison he's making, that that's basically what's happening right now. Is like we're at the very beginning of this massive trend shift, and it's all happening a little bit behind the scenes, but when it happens, it's going to be big. I mean, we're talking daily candles of like $10,000 per Bitcoin. We're talking like something probably bigger than most people could ever imagine. Something, honestly, that nobody is bullish enough for. We see that Bitcoin is actually also about to break out new all-time highs denominated in gold. Very big. And Will Clemente talking about Bitcoin, I think this is very accurate also. Bitcoin is a unique asset in that it becomes more attractive and de-risked the higher it goes. For instance, Bitcoin today might seem less risky than ever before for a variety of reasons. And basically, higher prices lead to higher prices and higher prices. And the best part about all of it, in my opinion, is that it's deflationary. There's a set limit, right? Like unlike anything we've ever seen in history. And it's quite insane to watch it playing out. It's quite insane to watch what myself and so many of you have believed and understood for years and years. And people that hadn't researched Bitcoin look at us like, well, why? Why would it go up? It's just internet money or something like that. But those people are very, very, very quickly going to be slapped in the face with this new reality. And they will understand why myself and so many other people like you were bullish on it, probably a little too late. I mean, you're going to buy Bitcoin at the price you deserve, right? I'm sure you've heard that a million times, but truly it's one of those sentiments or one of those statements that I think is just hitting the nail so straight on the head that, my brain almost replays that quote, hourly in my brain, right? There's so many bullish mantras, so many bullish quotes that just float around my head day after day, month after month, year after year. And now it's happening exactly as myself and so many of you thought. And it's obvious to me also, right? It's not even a shock, but it is kind of crazy to still watch it happening. Mike Novogratz on Bloomberg talking about Bitcoin hitting $500,000 if the strategic reserve happens, because other nations would have to buy Bitcoin as well. And other nations already are buying. They were probably buying before Bitcoin. We see Bitcoin now surpassing oil, the oil company Saudi Aramco, to become the 7th largest asset in the entire world. Absolutely bananas as well. It just passed 8th like a couple days ago. Now it's past the 7th to become the 7th largest asset. And in regards to the strategic Bitcoin reserve, Cynthia Lummis, the senator, talking about new Congress in session. When new Congress is in session, 2 weeks before Trump's inauguration, the Bitcoin Act could be on Trump's desk, ready to go within days of his presidency. Huge. Okay. We also learned about Doge last night. It's the first federal program whose goal is to eliminate itself. It exists to shrink government, not grow it. It's a huge step, I believe. Also, it definitely. I mean, I think it's huge. I think it's awesome for the country and awesome for the world. Yeah, Elon, as expected, and Vivek are in charge of this. Vivek, a very big Bitcoin advocate, and Elon, he loves Dogecoin. That's why it's literally Department of Government Efficiency has literally named Doge, which also Doge is pumping because of this. But overall, I think just a very good step moving forward. I think we're living in a pretty interesting timeline, to be honest. I think it's kind of crazy. Bitcoin has also pumped on to be expected by the time this video, it's already pumped since I started recording this video, higher than it was when I started. But in terms of like technical analysis for Bitcoin on the short term, there's not much to look at because we're in a blue sky breakout, new all-time highs. We're above everything. Everything is signaling mega bullish. As we talked about before it happened, this MACD and RSI breakout confirmed. We knew it was going to happen, right? We were talking about this weeks and even up to over a month before this breakout even started because of a lot of these indicators. For example, this massive bull flag, guess what? It was a bull flag, obviously. I mean, it seems obvious now, but before it happened, so many people would leave comments saying, oh no, we're going to break down, it's distribution, all this other stuff. That, once again, was completely wrong. Bitcoin's breaking out. Altcoins as well are going to start moving much bigger. I mean, they're already breaking out, but honestly, Bitcoin is just stealing the show right now, as expected. Still over 300 days of this bull market, I believe. This honestly could change things, maybe who knows? Is this the inflection point of the S-curve? Are we about to really see the adoption of Bitcoin? Because if we do, and we start having countries literally buying Bitcoin and having these strategic reserves, who's to say that the 4-year cycles will still dictate and dominate the flow of Bitcoin's price? It could change for the very first time ever. The quote, "this time is different," which people like to say jokingly because, to mock people saying it. Honestly, at a certain point, things will be different. If the biggest nations on the planet start adopting Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin is going much higher. Could be going much higher for much longer as well. This is a race. It's going to quickly turn into, it already has. It's turning into a race to acquire Bitcoin before it's too late. Crazy. And people like you and me and people watching this video, we were accumulating Bitcoin before people started. That's a big accomplishment, I think. I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty insane. Realistically, weekly chart, we also saw the CPI came back today, basically exactly in line with estimates. Yet another potential headwind, not really a big one as I mentioned yesterday, but another potential headwind shot down. Overall, this is quite literally, I think 100K is coming very soon. But that's not even a crazy statement. Look at what Bitcoin has been doing. Actually, one of the things I want to look at as well in terms of Bitcoin price is that, like, say we pull out the fib retracement and we go from these highs to these lows. Where do we see any resistance with the fib? The 1.618 is right at about 100K, then about 120 or so potentially. These fibs, they become almost meaningless when we start seeing countries adopt Bitcoin, the US having a strategic reserve, BlackRock's Bitcoin spot ETF becoming the biggest ETF by far in history. Some of these things get thrown out the window. Like the ceiling becomes higher and higher and higher. Again, I think we have the perfect recipe in terms of government, in terms of the spot ETFs, in terms of the halving, everything timed quite literally perfectly. I think that Bitcoin pumping right here is not only the most obvious thing I think I've ever seen, but it's, I mean, imagine being bearish here, man. I just don't imagine being bearish the past 2 years, and especially being bearish right now. Yeah, like people will maybe watch this video and say, oh wow, he seems excited, that means we're going down. You dummies have used that logic for the past 2 years, and you've been wrong the past 2 years. Just because somebody is bullish does not automatically mean, wow, they're bullish, must mean we go down. That's basically the only argument these perma bears have. The only suggestion I have is for those perma bears to literally go visit a doctor and make sure like do a brain scan or something. Make sure that stuff is actually working, because it might not be. Like, you actually might have a defective brain. For pizza's sake, get it checked out. So get signed up with Femex below if you want to buy Bitcoin, altcoins, or trade. Receive up to a $30,000 deposit bonus as well when you sign up with my link for a limited time. Without any further ado,